we should be live, but we're doing a little bit of a pre-party, I guess, before starting. To see how many of the lads show up to watch the intro with me. So yeah, we're gonna start in 12 minutes when it's 12 o'clock on this day, the fateful day that we start Elden Ring. Really like the music, like straight up from the start. Music's brilliant. Starts off quiet, then it goes into those thundering drums. How cool is that? Yeah, so of course with 11 more minutes of pre-party, if anyone does show up, they can tell me if all the pitch is working, my microphone's working, and everything else before I start recording, which I had a problem with Dark Souls 2 on, where my microphone was savagely broken, and now the actual beginning of Dark Souls 2 has become a lost episode with no microphone on it because it sounds demonic, as was described by the viewer that did show up. Which is a bit oof. Hey there. All right. One of my boys here. Is the sound working? Is the visuals working? Is everything cool? Oh wow, this game had HDR. Damn, I should have brought the HDR monitor that I was going for. Oh wow, this one has the correct prompts for like keyboard and mouse. That's nice. Yeah, we're doing like a bit of a pre-party to give everyone time to get here for the intro of Elden Ring. I love the intro music that we've got here, though. The title screen music. It's got like the thumping drum and everything. I love it. It's great. So we got play offline on because we don't want any of that online stuff. We don't need that. It's almost how my control pad looks, actually. I've got a pretty accurate other version. Whoa, the controls are different. Look at that. There's a jump button that's on, like, the face keys. And then use is on the top button instead of... Oh my good God. What's going on here? Very bizarre. I got a crouch. I was looking at like where the jump button was just now in Dark Souls 3 and there's a crouch. What? It's Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid. Okay. Skills on the same key as Dark Souls 3. Strong attack, right hand, and two-hand armament. Attack right hand, two-hand armament. Why have they got it written like 2H armament there, but then below it says two-handed armament? Wow, this is the first one that does that? Jeez. Took them a while. So yep, I got all the stuff on. Full screen. The resolution for my ultra wide. I tried having a ray tracing on when I tried to skip through to see what graphics options I could have turned on without looking at anything. And yeah, ray tracing just annihilates the performance. I can't record and have ray tracing on. So if we're going to advanced settings, I have everything on high. And it liked that. The computer was fine with everything on high. but it did not like ray tracing turned on. Even if I turned everything down to like medium, it just wouldn't even have ray tracing low. It just died, which is kind of oof. But ray tracing as well, I was very shocked about that. Yeah, it should look nice, but no ray traces. I was looking into buying a new graphics card, but something China, something there's no 4090s, something they cost like £400 more than they should. If you can even find one in stock, which is ouch. I mean, £400 if you're lucky, they're like £600 generally more than what they should be. I do want to do some more Dark Souls 3, I really do. But the only thing I seem to have left to do is that dragon, unless I can find some more levels somewhere that I missed. So I do appreciate that I didn't finish Dark Souls 3, and that makes me sad. But I just wanted to see the beginning of something for a little while. It's such a struggle to be at the end of Dark Souls 3 and be absolutely ragdolled around by that dragon. That dragon, like, he literally steps on me, and then I'm crushed. And then that's the end of me. Even if I'm holding block up, it's like, okay, well, you can't really block a dragon's foot landing on you. He's heavy. He's just like, it's too heavy. But really, did I do most of it? I mean, I guess I probably did a lot of it. I didn't find my way up to that statue, though. I couldn't figure out that puzzle that said, show your humanity. You know, it was so odd. And I didn't even feel like, you know, even if you figure that out, like that tube should vacuum you up. Because it would be weird to just float upwards to where that statue was. So I was always convinced that I'd be heading down to that statue, but I never quite got it. And it really stings. Like it's like a thorn in my hand to not figure out a puzzle and to just leave a puzzle there unsolved. Like, you saw all the loot that I picked up. I pick up every piece of loot if I can see it, and there's 2 pieces of loot up there. I memorized that there was 2 pieces of loot up near that altar that I never ever got. Drives me mad. I don't know, I think we did fairly well in Dark Souls 2. I think we found a lot of the stuff. I couldn't find out where to hand in, like, the top boss souls in Dark Souls 2, did I? Like, I had a whole series of souls that I wasn't allowed to hand into Strayed to make into weapons or spells or anything, and I think that was about the only thing I didn't figure out in Dark Souls 2. Except when I was looking at the footage and I found a door at the beginning of the game that was locked, and I never went back because it said it was locked from the other side, but there's no way to the other side of that door from what I could see. So even Dark Souls 2, there's a couple of things there. But yeah, I think we did pretty well. How's the time getting on this? 4 more minutes that other people can show up for to see the true star, and then we're just gonna go. But I think Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3 are probably tied for the title music that you get. Whereas Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, I don't even really remember the title music. They certainly don't thump as hard as these 2 songs for these 2 games. Like, their musical score on the title screen is getting better as they make more games. Such a weird thing to talk about, but we are stuck on like this 4 menu while we're waiting it out to see if anyone else shows up. I've loved this so far, though. Like, what am I going to do after we're done with FromSoft games? Gaming's not going to be the same once I'm done with FromSoft games. Like, every game will be like 12 hours done, 12 hours done, 12 hours done at best. Like, these are the longest games in the world ever. It's like the amount of footage I have for like Assassin's Creed 2. There was 4 video files, and that was the whole recording. Whereas each Dark Souls is about 24 video files or more. It's just the difference is astounding, and I love it. I quite like difficulty. Like, I'll quite often go to a game and it will say which difficulty you want, and I'll put it on Mega Ultra Hell Nightmare, and then I'll still just like blaze through it. I've given some thought to my play strategy. All I know is I'm going to be a Faith guy. If Faith guys exist, I'm going to be a Faith guy. So what I'm hoping is that they've improved the lock-on. Like, I hated Dark Souls 3 lock-on. I thought Dark Souls 2 had a much better and more consistent lock-on from a distance, even while I was playing a guy with no spells and just a two-handed weapon. I felt like the game, when I found an enemy and I clicked lock-on, it actually did something. So if I go into this as a Faith guy, and the lock-on is terrible, like I can't lock onto something and throw spells at it, I'll be a Faith guy that's like more melee orientated, like I'll be a Faith guy that tries to just wallop things. Whereas my guy just now, my armorer Dennis, I had so much int and not a lot of the other stats for so long that I was kind of just playing just a caster. So I guess it will depend a little bit on how the lock-on works. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll kind of like see what the guys are like on the title screen, because I remember in Dark Souls 3 at the beginning when we were character selecting, there were two sorcerer types. There was a sorcerer guy that had some melee, and then there was like a pure sorcerer guy that had slightly weaker other stats, and his sorcery was a little bit higher at the start. Maybe he started with some different items and things and some different equipment. But you had like a big fur coat on or something or other, whereas the more melee guy had like some armor. So I guess we'll have to see if there's like two different Faith guys to start with or more. And we'll have to go from there. But have I thought about if I'm going to use a shield or two-handed? Haven't really thought about that. I thought like the paired weapons in Dark Souls 3 looked super interesting, and we never used any of them. So if there's any paired weapons, I might go with the paired weapons, just because it's something that I didn't get to look at last time, because I had a game plan that didn't involve like dual-wielding two weapons. So maybe a Faith guy with two weapons, which will allow me to get back into rolling rather than blocking, which bring us back to Dark Souls 2, how I played that. We've hit 12 o'clock. Let's go. Let's do this thing. Bam. Oh, okay. So not straight into an intro, straight into the character select. You and me both. This is going to be awesome. I'm hoping it's going to be so good. So, there's a lot of big pictures of the guys. I like this. Warrior, hero. What is the difference between a warrior and a hero? They're both warriors. in a fashion. So we got the bandit. I think he's been there as a select for every game so far. Astrologer. So let's see, show attributes. So this is an int guy. Straight away I'm seeing 16 intelligence. So he's like our pure wizard. Got a prophet. That sounds like a faithy guy. Faith 16. So he's like the pure wizard, but he's the pure faith wizard. And he looks like someone who might hold up a sign saying the end is nigh, Coke and Pepsi the same thing. And he looks like a bit of a sandwich board doomsayer. Oh my god, a samurai! No way! Oh, man. I'm making a faith guy. He's got no faith. The samurai does not need to believe in the gods. He's a samurai. He's got this thing. We've got the man in the iron mask, which is odd. Like, what? What are your stats? Dexterity int. So this is like the more melee heavy int guy. Okay. We've got the wretch who's an aspiring tailor. You know, needs to make all of their clothes, and then we're back to the start. Okay. Let's get the see what the confessor is. Faith 14. Other stats pretty high. Wow, the confessor's got like almost 10 in everything and then up. Whereas some of these other guys earlier, we've got like 7s and 8s. 7s and 8s. Does anyone have anything below 8? No, 8 seems about the lowest. This guy starts with 10 and everything. And he's level 1? Wait. This guy has an advantage. There's no way that... Well, maybe. It just seems like the math seems a bit off. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... No, okay. It just looked like the numbers looked a bit odd. I thought if you take off like everything down to 10 and raise the 2 up to 10, that this would wind up better than that. Maybe it does. I'm not very good at maths. Just kind of eyeball it. But this guy... So, if I'm making a faith guy, it's a confessor who looks really, really cool. Seems to have a kite shield and a chunky sword. Versus the End is Nigh guy with like a bell and a stocks around their head. Like the man on the left looks like he's got like a bandage around his head, but the woman looks like she's got underwear on her head because of how her hair's like over it. It looks kind of like Y fronts on her head. so we're not playing that. We're gonna be a confessor, I'm sure, for like our faith needs. So off of just the looks, but then let's have one last look at the stats. So 7 int and 8 endurance. I don't know, those seem a bit low. And then we've got, oops, wrong guy. This guy. This one seems like much better all-round stats. I kind of like this a little bit better. Because then if I need int or arcane for something, they're kind of not too bad already to start with. Let's look at the items that they start with. So everyone gets one of those yellow lines, whatever that is. We don't know what that is yet. And I get a pair of pliers, which is very handy in case I need to like break into some locks. I can just snap them with like wire cutter type things. And then I got a kite shield and a sword, right? So we saw that in the picture. What does this guy start with? Oh, he's got the same pair of pliers. It looks like he's got like a... Oh, so that metal, that wooden pole that she's holding, it's actually got like a spearhead at the end of it. They start with a spear and then a piece of driftwood looking shield. So this guy starts with way cooler stuff. Yeah, okay. I think we're gonna be a confessor. Straight up. So body type A. Now I did do one thing. I didn't even like get as far as selecting this guy, but when I had to go in to see if the graphics were working, like if I had the right stats, I sat there and I made a detailed appearance. She made a couple of them because I was sitting there like bored. So I was trying to make the character from Bleach, but that doesn't really translate to a 3D model very well. So let's forget about him. And then I made my guy. You know, so this is what we're gonna look like. He may remind you of the person in the webcam a little bit. Like I did my best. But, yep, there he is. There's the guy. Boom. So that was cool. I remember there's this making like a preset guy being in Dark Souls 3. I was very happy that they kept that. So we didn't... Yeah, of course. I'm ready to sing in a metal band if anyone needs me to do that. So, it could just be that we go with Dean. Because, like, I know I had a good joke about calling the guy you gotta have faith or something like that when I was in the sad times when I couldn't figure out where to go in Dark Souls 3. But that's not really a name. Like, I always feel like characters' names should be names and not just, like, weird descriptions. So we've got Age Young, Origin Confessor. Oh, a keepsake. So this is like where you select the... Yeah. Okay, all the Dark Souls have had these so far. So, when I sped through, I didn't even see this menu. Because I didn't want to look at anything. So, medallion inlaid with Crimson Amber. Increases maximum HP. So we've always had one of them, but normally that's called the Tiny Ring on this menu. Land Between Rune. Oh wow, we get to see it on the little menu on the right, that the icons are different. The gold grace shining in the eyes of the people of the lands between, used to gain many runes. I don't know what a rune is yet, so maybe. A golden seed washed ashore from the lands between, said to enhance sacred flasks. So, maybe an Estus flask is a sacred flask? Said to enhance a sacred flask. That's a strong possibility. Fanged imp ashes. The ashes of small diminutive golems. Ashes are said to hold spirits within. It's got a freaky picture. Does look like ghosts, like where it says it holds spirits within. Crackpot. I'm not sure if I really want a crackpot. 3 strange crackpots that somehow mend themselves. A container for certain thrown items. I don't think I really used the throwing knives in Dark Souls 2 all that much. Like I got a couple of poisons ones and never really threw them. 2 stone kings shaped like keys shaped like swords. I don't know why I said kings. Breaks the seal on imp statues, but can only be used once. Breaks the seal on imp statues. Well, I don't know what that is yet. I don't like the sound of can only be used one. That sounds like a consumable. Ooh, consumables. 5 sacred branches charged with beguiling power, said to originate from the demigod Mequila. Yep, don't know what that is. Boiled prawn. 5 pieces of boiled prawn. Okay. Boost physical damage negation. Well, that's definitely a consumable. And Shabriri's... Shabriri's whoa. The crazed likeness of a noble whose eyes have been gouged out. Whoa, this went dark quick. Attracts enemy aggression. We had a ring in Dark Souls 2 that was like... enemies aggro you quicker. So I can select that as a starting item in Elden Ring. It's really weird. Why would I want that? I don't want that. So I think the best one is either the extra HP ring, which I think I went with in Dark Souls 1 and 2 at the start. Or, like, enhance your sacred flasks. That sounds really good. Like, if that is the Estus flask, and it's just called a sacred flask, now I like that. I like the sound of that. Like, having an extra one at the start sounds really, really cool. Yeah, so there we go. This is going to be our guy. I think that armor looks really, really good. I mean, except for the clipping through the cloak. Maybe he's actually got a hole cut in the cloak there, and that's not clipping. That's for reals, yo. So we got a name, got a body type, we got an age, we got a template. I think we're good. Yeah, let's do it.
The fallen leaves tell a story. The great Elden Ring was shattered. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Now, Queen Marika the Eternal is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish. Soon, Marika's offspring, demigods all, claimed the shards of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment by the greater will. Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Gold Mask. Fear, the deathbed companion, the loathsome Dung-Eater, and Sir Gideon Othmere, the all-knowing. And one other, whom grace would again bless. A tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between. To stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord.
What? That was huge. Normally I'd say that went from 1 to 100 real quick, but that went from 1 to 1,000,000 in seconds. The Elden Ring shattered is like the first sentence. So the Elden Ring is what the game's called, and the Elden Ring is just destroyed. Immediately. Bang! There goes that. Someone gets murderated by a load of guards with black knives in the long night. All the children scramble to get pieces of the ring. Everyone's gory, being stabbed by everyone. There's a war. There was this, kind of cool-looking woman on the left, and then the picture expands, and then there's this giant guy on the right. He is wide. He looked incredibly scary, and my god, everything just popped off. And then the fact that I'm included in the opening FMV, no wonder they show you which class you're going to be first, because you're included at the end there in a cutscene. That was so cool as well. It's just like all of these legends with the mega names, and then this guy over here. Like, who even cares about him? He's not going to do anything. But here he is, and that's me. I'm just the extra guy. So everything's very dark and mysterious in this beginning bit. Like, I wasn't sure if the colors were right, but they are. It's just totally nighttime in here. But except for the orange. Wow. I'm assuming this is going to be good. Okay. This person needs help. Read message. Yeah, this is odd. It's like at the top of the controller rather than the bottom. Through the path? Through the path be broken and uncertain. Claim your place as Elden Lord. So yeah, once again, I'm told, go get it. Go become the Elden Lord. It's a shame I couldn't turn on like the RTX, but this looks nice. Like, look at all that. Look at all that lighting. It's wonderful.